Hello and welcome to Plan With Me. So we are going to be setting up the July to December 2025 book. And for those of you new to the channel, this is the set that I picked this year. My planners come in semester books because I like to use a lot of blank or daily pages. And I still want more, so I'm thinking about that and my designs for what may end up being a spring launch in 2026, but we will see. Maybe it will be a 2026 January launch. So I finished this one and I can do a little flip through of it. And that's a wrap on the first half of the year. So we're going to set up this. I like to set up this happens almost every semester. I set up a week early. And I actually really have a lot of fun doing this. It makes me miss bullet journaling, like in a purist sense of the word, because I like the minimalism and I don't like all of the noise on the page. I did make my planner quite minimalist, but I crave even more minimalism. I set up the first week here, and this gives me a lot of good ideas for what an undated planner or even future structure planners, dated planners could look like. I did the same minimalist layout last time I switched semester books. And then I use this amazing pen. It is a Pilot penmanship I got for my birthday. All right, so just a little bit of background on pens. I used to religiously for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years now, use the Jetstream Uni .38. I love a really, really fine pen. As you can see, I really liked the really small writing effect. And it dries super fast and super dry, so if you have moist hands or anything else going on, I don't know, spill coffee on it, whatever, it won't smear. It's wonderful. I had tried fountain pens, but I hadn't found an ink. It's almost like I thought it was a thing of fountain pens that they weren't dry. That's because a lot of beginner inks you'll find are prioritizing other things. I kind of fell in love with this Diamine Forever ink, Blue Indigo. And this exceptional Pilot penmanship fountain pen, which is only $10. These two really felt like game changers or life changers to me. It's funny how such a little thing can give you such confidence, but it gave me a lot more confidence planning because I know it's not going to smear. And I can write the same way that I used to with the Jetstream Uni pen without fear of smearing, and I also can highlight over it. Hallelujah. You can see there's absolutely no smearing when you highlight over it. If you don't want to get all into the fountain pens yet, other pens I recommend to try are the Juice-Up 0.4. It's lovely. And the Uniball Signo DX. I don't have 100% memory of this right now, but I believe this one is more highlighter proof, the Juice-Up. Neither of them are as highlighter proof, however, as the Jetstream Uni .38 or this one. What I mean by this one is the actual ink. This Diamine Forever ink is amazing, and if you want to get into fountain pens, I recommend starting here, and you will save a lot of purchases. I bought things. I bought fountain pens and I bought ink, and the inks were lovely, but they weren't what I needed for this process. So as you can see, this also writes nice and tiny. So after I did my weekly, I left a page blank for some journal entries. I don't journal in the B6 Planner Journal quite as much as I used to. Know that is a relative term because I still journal in it a lot, but I really like to journal. So I created this little B6 Slim, and now I can journal to my heart's content without counting pages. and I love it. And these are also available for pre-order on my website right now. They just finished printing. They will not have this paper cover. They will have a cover like this and come in 2 colors. And they will be grid and they will be numbered pages, but otherwise they are blank, and they really just give me a lot of joy to be able to journal. Additionally, because even though I made this planner for lots of pages per week, it still wasn't enough for me, and I realized that that's okay. But that just means I just need more notebooks. I've played with the idea of making a quarterly one like this, and I may do that, especially if I look into some thicker papers. But for now, I just enjoy keeping this more structured and then journaling in this as many as I want, 3, 12, 50, whatever. And so my year would definitely look more than this, but this is just an example. As opposed to last year, my year looked like, this was my 3 planners last year. And then aside from that, I may have started like a Jaboon. Jaboon has these wonderful little idea books. And so this was kind of my year last year. And then I have a novel that I'm working on. And so I also added in this just for some story notes. This I don't move very quickly through because the novel's on my computer, but I carry this around for notes. That doesn't mean that if I'm not holding it that I'm stuck, because of the wonderful index system here. I can write the page number and the title of my book and find that note and transfer it to this or the computer. So last year, this was my system. This year, my system will be, okay, my system this year is this, a few of these. I do have one of these I keep just for business notes, but again, this is my sort of central, it's like the central command station, so notes also go in here when I'm not holding one of these. And then I transfer those notes if I feel like it, but they're indexed. And so I always know, like, let's say I'm on the subject of owl paper, it's going to be in one of these 2 books. If it's falling towards the sun, it's going to be in one of these 2. By the way, this is a Stalogy. Many of you know and love. They're precious. And it's in a Hobonichi A6 cover. So back to my system this year, one of these, several of these, one of these, also this. And then, because I think everybody needs a loose leaf something or other, I added the Hobonichi A6 papers. I love these. If you've never tried them, they are so cute. You can stick them in your planner when you make a note, like this, with some washi tape. Or you can just, you know, make a grocery list and take it and throw it out. I really love these. Everyone in the family wants to borrow them. And then I have some additional things, adding to my stack here. I have, because I'm very fortunate to have, you know, the owl paper books around, I have another one of these for practicing penmanship. That's all I do with it. So if you're talking about strictly writing, this would be my 2025 setup. Writing and journaling here. If you're getting into art, which I feel like I kind of have to because I also do the art in the journals, this is my watercolor book. And then I have this tiny little notebook that was a gift from a friend with nothing but Minecraft coordinates in it. These would make my notebook very messy. So yeah, you have to have that. Beehives, points of interest. single world and realms world. Very, very, very important stuff. And then I have my watercolor book, and I have a little sketchbook but that I can't find. But I haven't started this watercolor book yet because I was actually doing watercolor in 3 different places. One was this, one was my blue planner journal. This was all for experimentation. And then one was the little other watercolor book. But then I got myself some very specifically watercolor paper, and I'm really excited to use it. So far, of the 3, the little sketchbook and the Tomoe River and Cosmo Air Light, I absolutely love painting on the Cosmo Air Light. There's a different character that TRP has that I also love, but there's something, as you can see, and there's some technique difference because I did this one second. Obviously TRP is sort of impressive for how thin it is for watercolor. It has a really clear delivery and it's not muddy, but this is so beautiful the way the watercolor blends this page, and those are my 2 favorite paintings. There you have like my 2025. I felt so much happier when I tried not to either go through like 4 or 5 planner journals or limit myself to 2. So putting all of that aside and putting the first half of my year aside, getting back to setting up, the tools that I use to set up are the Diamine Forever, my Pilot penmanship pen, which is exquisite, writes very fine. This pencil case I've had for years that my youngest daughter gave to me, and it has my favorite shades of mild liners. And this cute bit of washi tape. I don't use it very often, but it's my favorite one that I have, so I'll kind of keep it. And then I'm going for mostly minimalist in the second half of the semester. However, I just got these cute, adorable, beautiful. I like, one of my main reasons for journaling is like encouragement and reflection and affirmations, incorporating, you know, what a lot of us incorporate, mental health and vision and faith. And so I picked these. Today I choose joy. I can do all things. And this beautiful, beautiful vellum. I haven't figured out what this is yet. Is it a sticker or is it just really cool vellum? I don't even know, but check the website. It has a description there, but how gorgeous is that? And I got all these little extras, the mandolin plants. Get yourself a bullet journal or a planner journal combination. Get yourself a favorite pen. If you don't want to mess with fountain pens, you know, stick with one of a pen like this. If you think that it would just bring you joy to experience writing with a fountain pen like it does me, I highly recommend Pilot penmanship, and I highly recommend Diamine Forever ink. They have way more colors than this, but I like to write in blue or black, or dark gray, I guess. Open up to your index and just remember it's always here for you. I don't like dive into that right away, but very soon, the first day, I started making some notes on the A5 I'm designing, and just put A5 notes 93 and I'll always know where that is. This index, I use them so many times throughout the week and day. All of my historical out paper journal books, I've noticed if I just keep them in order, I can find things really quickly. I've never made like a master index. I've never done that. Usually I kind of move on to new things to index, and I do carry forward from every planner a few key things. Some things my mind just starts to get used to. Hey, that's in that book, that recipe or whatever. Other things I just know I want to migrate and I do, and other things I just leave for historical record and I just leave them there. I am playing with a new daily layout that I have been loving. I know many of you know for a couple years I recommend this sort of drawing the line here and then putting the top half in half for your gratitude, your agenda, and then your reflection. But as I really noticed that I needed to branch out in journaling more, I did something that's even more easy for me, and it's just dotting and dashing this line down the center of the page. And then I put my numbers like 8 to 9 right here, you know, 5 to 10, whatever you want to do. And that's where I put the appointments. I forgot to highlight this, and I have to stop and highlight it because it was exciting. And satisfying. So that way I get a whole half of the page for the agenda, and I don't have to worry about if I'm going to have enough room or if I put something in the right out of order, or I mean, I love these spreads because they're fun, but I was getting a little indecisive whether the agenda included the to-do lists. There's so many different ways you could do it, and I definitely embrace freestyling it sometimes. But the last week or so in the book I just finished, I did the simple agenda. And it's nice because I really tend to use those 2 extra pages per week very quickly, even when I'm not intending to journal. And this, when I say journal, when I use it in that context, I mean like writing about your day after it's done, or in prayers in the morning or whatever. So as I said, mentioned before, a lot of those found my way into the B6 Slim, found their way into the B6 Slim Companion. So that, and now that I'm embracing that layout, it's just becoming a little bit more organized for me as I do the line and then the time. And then I do my 3 little gratitude things here. And then I do to-do lists with the flat of a chiseled highlighter, the mild liners. And I played around with dot markers for a long time, but the ones that I really loved did not have one of these things on them. And then I bought a bunch of these, and they're really, really bright and dark and heavy. And flipping through my planners, I realized I was really enjoying the little squares. They were fun. So set up a first couple days. You don't need to set up a bunch. And then to set up your first week, which to me will be the next week, I just put the appointments in that I needed. I did do like a goals page here. And sometimes that's a wish list, sometimes it's very concrete. These are the things that I feel like would be dreaming big for me. Many of you already know this, but in August and October, so in August there was a misprint, the 4th through the 19th. It started on a 3 here, so it went 1, 2, 3, 3. So you will need to renumber from 4 to 20. I did the whole thing because I wanted to use these stickers, and then I wished I had used the ones I provide, and then I did that in October, which someone just pointed out to me that there are 4 days wrong in October. And these little stickers, you may have gotten some. They can go here. If you need, many of you got one of these with your planner. If you didn't, message me, email me on the contact form if you still need these, and I will show you how to order them for free. So once you have August corrected, let's go to the yearly overview. So we've got July through December here. And this worked out really well for me this year because I just opened to my yearly overview, which I used a lot. And everything that was in the second half of the year, I transferred here. And there wasn't a whole lot. Now it makes it really easy if you want to just do like 1, 5, 10, 15. I left out those numbers because that's what my customers wanted. They wanted this space to be free. So instead of writing every single number, which would get super tedious, I wrote 1, 5, 10, 15. And I go through and I actually put in those things in my month and my week. There's some Kanta lessons for my daughter. And fill in your dates. And that should really be enough to get you up and started. Just a little recap. You will need a planner journal, a good pen or a fountain pen and ink, some good highlighters, and that's pretty much it.